And we are on. Hello, everyone. It is Paranormal, and we are your hosts, Rachel and
Kaz. Oh, did I just freeze as I did that?
No, but if you did, that'd be amazing.
I was like, cat, and then I just froze on my side. Great.
That's going to be a great face. Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
We are now into January.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at the calendar.
Halfway through January.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know where time's going already, and it has just started.
I know.
But yeah, I don't know. Not much is really going on right now. Well, I shouldn't say not much. Like the Paranormal Seekers, like we've got 2 events coming up. So this week, so by the time you listen to this, they've already passed. But we have 2 events coming up this week: a presentation and a public event. And then we got asked to investigate a really interesting location near us. Yeah. So it's like close to home, so it's kind of nice. But the place is kind of really, really interesting.
I am unable to attend, but I'm very excited to hear about it.
I know, and that sucks. But
well, it doesn't, because I'll be in Dominican, so I'll think of you all by the pool. I won't at all. But have fun.
This place, if I just even said the name of what it used to be, everyone would know exactly what it is and where it is. So I'm not saying anything yet.
I don't, I guess, because I didn't grow up in this area or country, but I have read a little bit about it. Oh, I don't even know the type of spirits you're about to encounter.
No, neither do I. Premier destination.
Excellent. Well, we'll hear all about it, I'm sure.
Oh, everyone will. I hope it's, definitely. But speaking of premier destination.
Yes, ones to remember.
Yeah.
This one is it.
Today's episode is a Canadian's guide to the Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York.
Mm-hmm. If you don't know what it is, pause for a second, go read about it, and come back. Or I'm sure you're about to tell everyone.
Oh, yeah.
But
first things first. This is the living room behind me. I slept on that couch quite well for a little bit, but we will get into that later. But this place has been featured on numerous television shows, YouTube videos. So Project Fear has been there. You've got Paranormal Lockdown has been there. And then you've got all your paranormal shows on YouTube. A lot of them have been there as well. And it all started in 1970s. And it was known as the Dandy House back then. So Clara Dandy, who's now reverted back to her maiden name because she did split from her husband, did write a book about her experiences and her family's experience in this house. And it's called Echoes of a Haunting. And I say give it a read because it gives you a firsthand account. Because a lot of the stories that surround this house are pretty, they're really embellished and sensationalized. And a lot of it is just not true. And if you read the book, I read the book. For me, it felt like it was more something that was scary because they didn't know what was going on. Not necessarily what I guess the public likes to think it is.
Right.
Though there's stuff there that I would say is I don't know. It could have been brought by people who have visited. So, right? But so
I mean, when things happened there to begin the whole stories, since then, and since it's been purchased and has become like a paranormal team's dream, you're right. We have no idea what other teams do when they go. I don't know that they're all respectful like us. I've seen some YouTube teams that really provoke when they go out. So who knows what has happened? And if there is a portal there or, you know, things milling around, yeah, they're just gonna ramp up.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'm just gonna go through, like, I have all my notes. Like, my notes are all over here right now from what I did when we did our first investigation. So let's just go over, like, the brief history of what is out there for this house.
Okay.
So apparently this started in the 1970s. So Clara and Phil Dandy moved into the house with their children. They had so many different, like, things that happened to them while they were there: poltergeist activity, apparitions, sight, smell, sound, like, you name it. They had a priest come in. They had a psychic medium come in, and this psychic at the time indicated and claimed that there were 7 murders in the house, and that all this other stuff. They did perform an exorcism on the house. So it was a structural exorcism, not an individual person exorcism. It was noted that in 1799, an Indian massacre is said to have occurred on the land that the house is on. There's also stories that during the 1800s of 2 brothers who lived in the house together, they would raid and rob passing stagecoaches, and killing the occupants of those coaches, burying them either in the cellar of the house or on the property that surrounds them.
Ooh.
So yeah, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And then ever since the 1970s, other people have moved into the house. They don't stay very long. They move out, so on and so forth. So that's the story of how and why this house is haunted. It is, you know, what everybody is discussing and sharing. And I just see Kaz walk by in the back.
I know. I have to get my chapstick. I don't know why. Listen, unless you live in Canada in the winter, you don't know how dry your lips get.
It was just funny with your background picture. There's just a little.
I know. Did you see me? I was like, swinging on the swing.
That's hilarious. So I think maybe we should just start from the very beginning and then just kind of dispel or validate the activity and, like, the history and stuff. So we're going to start at the very, 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 very beginning.
Perfect.
So obviously we all know that the land is native land.
Yeah.
Right? So it is said that the Wenro tribe used to live there. Like, that was their land. This tribe was a small tribe, between 12 to 2,000 people. The number of their villages...
That's a big difference.
The number of their villages, they don't know. But they figured that there was at least 2 or 3. They ceased to exist after 1643. So we're going back to the 1600s here. Like, I've taken you all the way back. They spoke Iroquoian, so they were an Iroquois descendant. Their name is a short form. So Wenro is short form of their Huron name, Wenrohanan. I'm going to say this wrong, and I apologize. Which means the people of the place of floating scum.
Oh, okay.
So apparently this name was derived from the location of their main village, which is near the site of a famous oil spring at Cuba, New York, which is actually not that far from Hinsdale.
Okay.
So yeah, so being a small tribe, they were required to protect themselves from the larger confederations which surrounded them. And by confederations, we're talking about other tribes, especially the Iroquois. So they did form an alliance with the Eries and the Neutrals. So for reasons unknown, this alliance eventually ended in 1639. And pretty much right after that, they were quickly overrun and were driven across the Niagara River into lovely province of Ontario.
Oh. Okay.
So basically, many moved in with the neutral tribes. One large group of about 600 were given refuge by the Hurons. And then one group remained east of the Niagara River and fought with the Iroquois until 1943. Finally, this tribe was forced to abandon New York, and the survivors of it fled west and became part of the Neutrals. And then at this point, they ceased to exist. So I also have here that when the Wenros with the Hurons, they were either killed or captured in 1649 when the Iroquois destroyed the Huron Confederacy. So the one Indian tribe, native tribe, not Indian, I should say. The one native tribe went after the other native tribe and totally wiped them out. So a lot of people like to say that, a lot of the white men out a lot of native stuff, and they did. But a lot of native tribes took out each other.
Right.
This is where that massacre came. So like Beaver Wars and all that, where they, literally be like scalped people. That was between tribes, not between any of that. Right. So that's on that land. So you have to think like way before when it was all like not built up. So now you have that on that land.
Right.
Right. So that's there. Now that's where this giving tree comes in. So on the property, there's that giving tree where people go and make peace offerings to the land.
And we don't know like who started that or how it started. It just is something now.
I don't even think I have anything in my notes to say this giving tree was blah, 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 blah. I think someone picked a tree and went, this is a good spot. If I'm wrong and somebody knows about this, let us know, because I don't understand. It's just a specific tree. I don't know, but it's got a creepy feel, and we definitely have a creepy picture thanks to Ryan's wife. So we'll post that when this airs so people can see. It's definitely
well, and even the video of that. So this tree, it's a big tree, and people have put all kinds of trinkets, feathers hanging, wind chimes, dream catchers, little bottles of booze, all kinds of things are either in, on, or around the tree. And when we went, it was summer and it was beautiful. I don't even think there was a breeze. And we're in the woods. You go up this like kind of rickety path, and all the things that are hanging are just still, except for this one thing that's going like it was swinging like it was in a hurricane.
Yeah.
And it was next to other things on the same branch that were motionless. And we were like, what is happening? And it started when Ryan started telling the story of, I think, of the natives of the land. And it went crazy. And we were like, time to leave. So
we didn't stay up there very long. And we didn't go back.
No, and as we were leaving, I think both Ryan and Jay were like, we heard footsteps. And I don't know if that's why Liz just randomly took the picture, or if she just turned and took the picture. And I hope you post it, because like she had taken multiple pictures, and this one is like some weird, foggy, misty, weirdy stuff. It's and like coming at her.
No one's smoking, because why would we smoke in a bush that's dry?
Right.
No one's vaping. There's no bubbles.
Summer, so it's not out breath.
Yeah, there's no fire going anywhere. It's not like smoke from a fire. So it's a really interesting photo. But yeah. It really is. And just the timing of it, because we like you said, we did our offering, we did our thing, and then we're all like, it's time to go. Like we all just suddenly were like, things have changed. Let's get the hell out of here. And yeah, I think Alice and I are like booking it down the hill. Yeah, you guys were gone first.
You're like in full support.
Well, I'm running away because it's bear country. And I'm like, I'm done with that. And I know wild animals going.
Yeah, it was
afraid of the dead people.
It was an interest. And the trouble with the woods is squirrel can be walking by and it sounds like Bigfoot. Like it so we did hear what sounded like footsteps, but I'm not in any way thinking that was paranormal, but it did signal, well, it's time to go. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
she took that weird picture, and yeah, we never went back.
Nope, not up there.
Mm-mm.
Not yet.
No.
So
Nope.
So now let's go a little. I'm going to jump a bit. So we're in the 1800s, okay? So apparently a gentleman by the name of Lewis Woods settled in Hinsdale to pursue work. His brother, whose name is Wheelock,
All right.
came and settled as well. In 1839, Wheelock, which is, I don't understand who.
I just realized I was disappearing into the background.
I do the same thing too. All right, so in 1830, Wheelock owned 249 acres of property. He was living well. He was farming, tanning. He was building a house. Okay, right? So in 1853, it is believed that David and Charles Everett, two brothers, bought the land off of Wheelock where the house now stands. Okay. Now here's where that tells you that these guys did not kill people. The Everett brothers were iron workers. They were of Irish descent. Folklore does say they're murderers, but we all know they're not. It's just, I have the history of them. They both moved away at some point. So apparently David and Charles, they built a house together, or they added on to what was already there. David died in 1894 and Charles died in 1892. They didn't kill anybody. They were family men. The one, though, I will have to admit, Charles, when I was doing his genealogical research, he also may have gone by the name William, and he may have also had two other wives in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently he was doing well, I guess. I don't know.
All right, then. Sneaky William.
That was that. They didn't stay there from a long time, but they stayed there for quite a while. They sold the property in the house, and Alfred and Elmira Burton moved in 1861. So these guys lived in the house. Let me see here. Until his death. So until Alfred passed away in 1874. And then his son George inherited the house. And then he stayed there until approximately the 1900s, I would say. I don't have an exact date. But that is when Michael and Catherine McMahon purchased the house and the property. And if you've been there before and you know where we are, the road is actually named after this family. Now, here's the thing. The McMahon O'Brien family, because, of course, one of the daughters eventually married off, and, of course, they had to hyphenate. It is said that their family is actually buried on the property, on the land that was behind the barn that once stood there. The barn is now where the pond is, which would make sense. Because back then you buried your family on your land.
Right.
Both Michael and Catherine, they did die in 1904. And there's only 26 hours and 20 minutes between their deaths. Which is pretty interesting.
Was their cause of death, or it's unknown?
I don't know. I didn't have that down. I should probably do a little more research into that.
Well, I'm just like, is this like a murder-suicide? Is this like...
they were old.
Cholera? Is it heartbreak? Like, if it's a case of she died and then he's like, okay, I live without you, and died too. Oh my God, that's so sad, and I love it.
He died first. He died April 23rd, 1904, and she died April 24th. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
But still, like, oh.
Yeah. So then their sons inherited the house. So John, or Jack as he went by, and Dennis inherited the house. And then when Jack would eventually hand over the house to Dennis, who then deeded it to his wife and his children upon his death. And then his daughter, I think he only had one. Oh no, he had more. So he then, I guess, gave or deeded. I don't know how it went, but then his daughter Margaret ends up with the house.
Mm-hmm.
He lived on the property, and that was until the end of 1960s.
Okay.
That is when Ken and Donna Reese purchased the land. They did live in the house apparently for a short period of time, so about a year maybe, or a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The whole purpose of them purchasing this property and this house was for profit. They wanted to build cabins on the land and have ponds at each cabin. So they wanted to build about 10 cabins and have 10 ponds, kind of like a resort type thing where you had your own private little. They only got one pond dug. They had started foundations on a few of the cabins, but they just stopped. They never finished. They then decided to rent it out to the Dandy family.
So I wonder, is it just a case of they ran out of money and was like, this was a stupid idea, or did something prevent them?
That's a good question.
So they obviously...
I don't think they ran out of money because, well, Donna opened and operated her own beauty shop. From 1962 to 1970, she was a competitive skeet shooter. They also owned the Reese Game Preserve and Park.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then, because it's very ambitious to be like, we're going to have all this land and we're going to dig 10 ponds and put 10 cabins. And they dig a pond and then go, no.
Well, maybe when they dug up the pond, they found something they shouldn't have.
Well,
I don't know.
Because that pond is where the barn would be, or was. And they said, that the people were buried behind the barn. So there's a good chance that they did find something. But I don't know. I guess we'll never know.
When we went and did the little tour that we had, they did tell us that ground penetrating radar indicated what looked like plots where bodies would be, especially on the right side. So if you're standing facing the pond, to the right side is where they all are, and it's behind the pond, right?
There's 4 that they know of. They believe there were more, but they were just we're not gonna look anymore. But there is one before you get to the pond, just to the left. So I mean, they're scattered around the pond, so it would make sense that probably where the pond is. I mean, if there was a barn there, okay, maybe. I don't think they would bury them under the barn, but who knows? I remember the weird sketchy foundation that we found, and they said, we've just unearthed that and we don't know what it is. Maybe that was the foundation to the cabins you were just saying, that they had started, and then when we're finding too many bodies, let's get the hell out of here.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it.
This is a cemetery.
So there's a lot of other interesting things that they say has gone on. So apparently in 1942, so I'm going to talk about this before we get to the dandies.
Okay.
So in 1942, apparently the neighbor kid, a 16-year-old Alfred Warner, accidentally killed himself. He was out back at his farm with his father's buzzsaw chopping wood. The buzzsaw snagged and hit his head with immense force, fracturing his skull. Dead.
Oh my God. That was on the property?
That was a neighbor's. So somewhere around there. Okay. And you know how far the neighbors are.
Yeah.
So, and apparently, according to this research, in 1940s, another boy almost died in the house. He went into the only closet upstairs to get something. A belt ended up around his neck and tried to hang him, but he was able to escape.
Okay.
I like
A little suspicious. Can we just backtrack to the two brothers? Why did it like? Why are there rumors that they were these murderous? Like, where did that come from?
That's a good question.
Like, were they just because they were odd and it was just two guys living like kind of reclusey, or is there maybe something to it? Like, it's kind of a bit of a.
See, a lot of the stuff we talk about is, oh, it was on a stagecoach trail and all this stuff. And there was really, like, the stagecoach trail was, like, super far away. So it wasn't, like, anywhere near. Like, you've been up there. Like, who the fuck is going to go up that far in a stagecoach? You're going to stay on the bloody main roads, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's a dead end that kind of just drops off. So I don't see how that was ever a stagecoach. I don't know back in the day. But I just wondered how. Like, that's a pretty bold, I think, rumor to start.
Folklore, something to get you afraid of. Like, oh my God, the murderers are going to get me. Don't go in there, children. I don't know, but there were murders up there. In the 1960s, two brothers were fighting in the woods over religion. The older brother was converting to being Catholic. They were Jehovah's Witnesses, apparently, so he was converting over. The younger brother didn't like this extreme change, and so the younger brother shot and killed the older brother.
Okay.
Like that face.
In the name of God.
Yeah, and then I have... There's another one, too, and I had to double check it, because I was like, wait a second, is this the same thing? I just gotta find it now. But that one, it was like, I have their names too.
Well, I'm not going to mention it just yet, but we got to circle back to this because of that visitation I had from the.
Yeah, but there's another one. It happened in 1999 too.
What?
Yeah,
like another murder over religion.
I don't know if this one was over religion or not. Because I was like, wait a second, this is like 1999. Like, did I write this down wrong?
I say that it's new, but yeah, that's 26 years ago.
Yeah, here we go. So in 1999, a pair of brothers were fighting on a nearby property. David Sampson killed his brother, Danny. He would plead guilty to manslaughter. I don't know if this is the same or different, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, what was the date for the first one you said?
I said there was a date. In the 1960s.
Yeah, so...
Maybe it is two different. Two brothers killing... Yeah. See, I was just reading it and it made me like, oh, did I write the date? But I think there was actually two.
That's cool. Not cool death, but cool that there's shit going down.
Yeah. And then we've got the hanging tree. So this tree was at the end of the road. It doesn't exist anymore because it got hit by lightning like twice and it just blew the tree apart. Random tree, but apparently a woman named Elizabeth. She just got married, and her husband was leaving to go to war. It doesn't give a date. So they were a poor couple. They couldn't afford rings or certification of marriage, so they just got married in the eyes of God. Elizabeth ended up getting pregnant with her husband, right? She started showing her pregnant belly and all that in town. Everyone thought she had committed adultery because her husband's gone,
right?
And because of this, they apparently hung her on the tree. Yeah, her husband never found her, and she was buried. She is believed to be buried underneath this tree.
Ooh.
But again, stories.
Right.
There's been no confounding truth or evidence of anything of this Elizabeth existing, any of that kind of stuff. So,
jeez.
Yeah. So that's just the stories that kind of predate the Dandy family.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Dandy family moves in, and they're a family of, I believe, one, two, three, five. So they're a family of four kids, two adults. They were a family of 5 kids, but the youngest daughter died a day after day after she was born.
Okay.
Okay. So you've got Phil and Clara. So you got mom and dad. And then you've got, like, in order of birth, you've got Michael, Beth, or Elizabeth, as her full name is, Laura, Mary, and then the last one was Christina. So, and Christina was the one who passed away as a baby.
Okay.
Okay. So these guys move in and they think it's like their perfect, house out of, in the country. And no. They
And this
literally
is
start having all these
1970s, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
1970.
Okay.
Now, a lot of the stories say they only stayed like 16 months. They actually stayed 4 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that quick. It was kind of like, I guess, a build up to the point where they just were like, we're done.
Right.
So again, they've had lots of like different experiences. It started out, with like weird things happening where they would just brush it off until it got to the point where they couldn't anymore. So they kept seeing a man outside, a younger man, so teenager, holding a shotgun, wearing overalls.
Oh.
They would see a woman outside wearing white, and they thought this could be this Elizabeth. And then in the woods, they could hear chanting and drumming. They were pretty sure they saw a human cow, a hybrid.
Oh. Okay.
I know. I don't know. Lots of like things would fall off and hit them on the head while they were sleeping. Burn marks on them. All that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, Laura Dandy, so the guess the middle child out of the 5, or second youngest now. She told her sister Mary at one point that she would die in her 30s. And she actually did. She died at 32. And the whole, like, death certificate, like, I don't think it's a death certificate because I looked at that. But, like, the whole death, they just labeled it as a suicide. But it was an accidental drug overdose, prescription drug overdose.
Okay. And that's not in the house. She didn't die in the house.
No. This is like way after. But she told her sister that she would die in her 30s while they were living in the house. Now, Michael Dandy, he kind of suffered a lot. Like, their oldest and the only boy. He had numerous car accidents. So while they were living there in 1973, he almost died of a ruptured spleen and head injuries. The guy who was with him and the state troopers could not find evidence of another person that was with him. He said that there was somebody else in the vehicle, I believe, and they couldn't find, or they saw that he saw something and it wasn't there. So he had an accident. Years later, the same thing happened. He was in a car accident with a pretty blonde woman. There was an impression of her head on the dash, but no other evidence she was there. When he woke up after this accident, he asked about the blonde woman. They had no idea, could never find her. He did eventually would die due to the injuries caused by this accident. He ended up having a brain aneurysm and he passed away in his sleep.
Holy
And
moly.
that was in 2017.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so he was like older. He wasn't a child. Okay. Was he having? Oh, I guess he would be a child when they lived in the house. So he wasn't like driving then.
Yeah, he was. So they were all high school, pretty much. Yeah,
these accidents happening when he was there, or they happened when they moved away?
The first one happened while I think they both happened while they were there. The first one was 1973, and I think the second one was just after.
I wonder if the female was the one that they hung by the hanging tree.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Or she just existed and just ran away and was like, I'm not telling you anything. Never again.
If your face impression is left in the dash, I'm not sure that you're walking away from that one.
Well,
jeez,
you never know.
Hmm.
But so everything surrounded the Dandy family. So eventually the Dandy family would move out. And the last couple to live in the house was Joseph and Florence Misnick. Now, these were an older couple. Because the house had been written about in newspapers and all of that, and they had all this publicity, because apparently, like, if you read her book, Echoes of a Haunting, like you read Clara's book, like you will hear about like the hordes of people that just drove up and down that street just to see the house. And that they had to get, police officers to come out and tell people to, back up, go away, because they would just come down and get stuck at the end of the road. The dead end.
Literally. I mean, we can attest to people coming by to want to see the house. So,
oh yeah, in the middle of the night, not a good idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna pack more than just a pair of shears for when we go back.
Jay's laughing. We'll get you a taser.
Exactly. But aren't you glad I had your back, everyone?
He was going to give him a haircut is what you were going to do.
Oh, I was going to Edward Scissorhand them. They would have been terrified.
So here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. So Joe and Florence, they lived in a house. They were a really old, well, I shouldn't say old. They were an older couple. This was Joe's second marriage, and Florence, this was her third. They had children previously. They just didn't want to be alone, right? You're at that age, life is, it's pretty much not going up, right? So they lived in the house. They knew about the hauntings, everything. They walked in and they said, you don't bother us, we won't bother you. And apparently they didn't have any issues. So they say. They could have had experiences. They just never talked about it. Right. Joe actually did die in the house.
Okay.
He what do I have? Do I have him down as having a heart attack? No, I don't have him. I don't know why he said heart attack, but he must have.
Yeah.
He died in 2010. So they were living in that house up until 2010. Wow. And then he died in the house, but they had to take him to the hospital to confirm for everything. Florence, who went by Flo, had a heart attack 2 months later. And they said she can't live there anymore. So her family took her in, and she died the same year, October 23rd, 2010.
So another couple that died
pretty close,
fairly close together. Oh.
Yeah. So, and then after that, the house just fell into disrepair. And then Daniel bought it and turned it into what it is today. And he's turned it into a research center and museum. So yeah, so that's the history. That's the boring stuff is now over. The investigation, on the other hand, I don't even know what to say about
it. Well, this was my first official overnight, but I guess you guys had stayed in a place before overnight, hadn't you?
Not in New York.
Right. So
this was for us, this was our first unsupervised overnight. In a location that we had complete control over. Because we've done a lot of overnights in hotels and stuff. Obviously, you don't get free range.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, yeah, I obviously knew nothing about the house when we got there. Walking in, you feel like you're just at a, regular old cottage. It has that cottage vibe. It's basic furniture from the 70s, kitchen
literally
doesn't have a
Airbnb
oven. Yeah. So you kind of first walk in and not underwhelmed because I don't know what I was expecting, but was just like, oh, it kind of feels a bit homely. And we were like, great. And then, it got dark and everything changed. That was the feeling of, oh, great. Turn to, can someone come with me to the bathroom?
I know it's just around the corner. You know what? Maybe you should just tell everyone to pee with the door open next time.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just pee with the door open.
For anyone who's obviously not been there, you walk in. Sorry, hang on 1 second. What, my darling? Yes. Well, grab your stuff and okay. Interlude from my hubby. So when you walk in, there's like a little screened-in porch, and then you go into the kitchen, and immediately to your right is a little bedroom, which whose name was above that? Michael? Okay. And then in the kitchen, and if you're facing away from there, you have the living room, stairs going up, and then the washroom. For whatever reason, those stairs going up were the creepiest stairs ever. And throughout the night, we realized there was a motion light sensor at the very top. So this used to be an attic, clearly, because when you go up the stairs, it immediately stops at a wall, and then you have to turn left or right and step up into rooms. So at the very top there is a sensor light. When you're about 2 or 3 steps from the top of the stairs, the light would come on. And we would be randomly sitting in the kitchen, and that light would come on as if someone has gone up the stairs. And after a while, we're like, what the fuck? What is doing that?
Yeah, so, and a lot of things too is like, so when you walked into like the living room area, it looks really huge, and you go around the corner and it kind of goes in a bit. And that's where they have this like haunted doll and stuff that they don't want you to touch. Don't put it there if you don't want people to touch it, because people touch it. As soon as you say don't open, people are gonna be like, I'm gonna open it.
And where did that come from? Like,
Daniel got it from somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was like in a fire or something, and it like I don't know. There's a lot of couldn't really look
remember
at it.
that it like survived it and is imperfect, and then people have gone and it's moved and it comes out of the case.
Door, like they've got video of the little door case opening and closing. I slept on a couch beside that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't get any movement, but 2 K2 meters were going insane right there.
And that's really funny because that little section used to be a bedroom. There used to be a wall and a door there. That used to be one of the girls' bedrooms.
That's the tiniest bedroom.
Wow. Look at the one at the top of the stairs on the right-hand side. I swear to God, that was a closet at one point.
Yeah, that bedroom. I hated that one.
So,
yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was strange. So, I mean, I don't think. Well, first we got our equipment in, but then we went to the. There's a random head behind me. We went to the Giving Tree. No.
Yeah, we did.
The Giving Tree. Okay.
Yeah, we did it first in the light because we weren't going in the dark.
Yeah. And so then when we came back in, we're like, okay, let's get going. And immediately, like the K2 meters started going nuts over by the thing. We had spirits voices coming through in the spirit box. What was really cool is I put my GoPro just at the top of the stairs facing into the master bedroom, which is above the living room. And we were all in the living room. And at one point, someone says, is someone walking upstairs? Like, can you hear footsteps? And we're all listening. And on the GoPro, absolutely, you can hear fairly heavy footprints walking across that living room. And I don't think we were fully aware at that time of the stuff that was going on upstairs. Well, we were downstairs. And so, but it started to begin. And then I think we got too much stuff and we all had to go outside, take a break. And unfortunately, we didn't leave anything really rolling while we left.
No.
I thought I put my GoPro on, but I hadn't. So I don't know if someone turned it off. But I would have loved to have known what was going on. We weren't in there.
I know. And Well, we do have the video. I do have the video from the video cameras.
Oh, right. Yes, because there are CCTV cameras throughout the entire house. And so you are monitored except for the bathroom. And speaking of the bathroom, when you're in the bathroom and you sit on the toilet, you are like 2 feet from the door leading to the creepy basement. And it's padlocked or like a bolt lock with a big sign that says, "Do not open or unlock door." And I'm like,
Yeah, I think it was keep the door closed.
Something. And I'm like, every time I was peeing, I'm like, if that door opens, they're going to see my bare ass as I'm running out. I'm not even going to have time to pull anything up. Like, I'm gone. Because it's literally like you're not far from, you're staring at it.
Yeah.
If you're a woman, I don't know. Or a man who sits down to pee, whatever. No judgment. But
I don't know. Would it be more scary if you were peeing and watching it open, if you were standing up and peeing and it just hit you in the back?
Well, it opened inward, so you would just hear like, and you turn around. I don't know.
Crazy. Never mind, because I didn't even go down there. I didn't even open it. Like, that's the one place that we didn't investigate was the basement.
Yeah. Well, Jay and I went. We were brave. I was only brave in the daytime. Although I don't think there's any windows down there, so you couldn't even tell if it's day or night.
It's a hole in the ground.
Yeah. But we were all gung-ho to go down there, and then literally we opened the door and it was so dark. Like, there's dark, and then there's you could see like the first couple of steps and then nothing, and we're all like, and we'll just close that and lock it and we'll keep it locked. And that was it. Like, but I'll tell you this, when I did go down there, very underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's just like a typical old dugout basement.
Yeah. It's a cellar.
With like there's the hole in the wall that has like the crawl space where they found bones, whatever. But yeah, once I'd gone down, I was like, oh, but we didn't do anything. We didn't have equipment down there, nothing. No. So it wasn't, maybe stuff was going on and we just don't know.
Yeah. We didn't even spend a lot of time upstairs either when I think about it. Like, we did some stuff upstairs. We did, but we didn't do a lot. And we didn't even split up because we just all seemed to congregate and stay in the living room. In the kitchen. Right?
I mean, so we did go upstairs that one time when you did the Estes, which was very interesting because the brothers came through and they were like really grateful that you were setting the story straight regarding the rumors that they were these serial killers or whatever. And we got a lot of response with the lights, the strip lights. But there are 2 bedrooms, like one off the stairs and then one off the master bedroom. I went into the little one off the stairs and I got really dizzy and sick and was like, I'm not going back in this room. And the other room, nothing. I think we were so freaked out. All of the things we planned to do went out the window. And
hey, that sounds familiar.
Yep. We just ended up conjugating in the living room because we were quite
all your most terrifying moments of the entire night happened in the living room. So a little background. It's like what? I don't even know when. I was probably like 2:00 in the morning. We decided to sit in the living room. We're going to take a break, all that. I'm like, I'm going to take a nap through this. I'm tired. So this little couch, like right here, because this picture is flipped, so everything, but this little couch right here, that's my sleepy couch. I was out. I was sawing logs. I was in best sleep I was having until I woke up to screaming.
And not just like,
no, this was like blood curdling.
Your name.
Something is, happening. Meanwhile, here I am waking up thinking, oh my God, I missed this apparition. I missed this amazing event because, I needed to sleep, only to hear that it's a bat in the house.
But not like a fuzzy little bat, like a pterodactyl bat, okay? And let's just set the picture here. So it's 2:30, almost 3:00 in the morning at this point. We had the REM pod going crazy, the K2 meters going crazy. We've got things coming through the spirit box. And I'm talking like nonstop. it's just so much so to the point we're not even responding to when it happens because it's just so much, as Rachel's snoring on the couch. And we're all kind of slowly winding down. And then where I'm sitting, Jay and I are sitting on this long couch, and kind of to my left is the doorway into the kitchen. And Jay's like, something just went past the door. And I'm like, don't fucking say that. I'm sitting right here. And he's like, no, I saw something. It went like across. He's like, I saw it move. And then all of a sudden, this thing like, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's dark, people. The only light is from the strip lights and the REM pod going off. And all of a sudden, this thing is just there. And then we realized it was a bat. And then all hell broke loose. And I've never heard Allison reach that decimal before as she's screaming your name. I don't know why. She needed your protection from the bat. And now the bat is like, holy fuck, because we're freaking out. And it can't really see us, but we're just flapping around. And Ryan teleports from one side of the room to the other.
Not only does he teleport, he actually taps me to wake me up. Because what am I supposed to do?
Exactly. He wants you to die with the rest of us, okay? Like, not peacefully in your sleep. No. Horrified like us. And so I'm trying to hide under my blanket and videotape at the same time because that's my job. And like, now the bat is frantic because we are frantic and I guess sending out vibe waves everywhere. And it's dive bombing us. And we still can't really see. And then I think my light was on my phone, I guess, because I'm videotaping at this point. So now, I don't know. I don't think I can see the light or sense it. But now it's like coming at me. Oh, my God. Jay finally, like, I don't know, army crawled into the other room to turn the light on. And then it went into the kitchen. And then I'm trying to hold the sheet up so it can't come back in.
And then Rachel and Jay get it outside. And
Rachel goes back to sleep.
Yeah, Rachel goes back to sleep after I did.
And now we're all like, hey, except for Rachel. We're all like, oh, I can't go back to sleep. And yeah, it was for the rest of the night. We didn't even know, like, now we're just on adrenaline.
Oh, it was the best. There's video of it, so don't worry, everybody. I'll be posting it so you can see it.
It was a really good boost of energy that we all needed.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, we were all starting to feel like the energy was ramping up. And I'm like, any minute something's going to come flying down those stairs, which were kind of like behind the wall behind me. But the door, it would have rounded the corner and I'm right there. So all of us were just like, and then the bat's like, hold my beer. And then it came in and just.
Yeah, poor Ryan totally left his wife by herself on the couch so he could hide in the corner in that chair.
Yeah.
Right there.
This is a grown man who used to be a police officer. And all you hear is, Ryan, why are you leaving me? Oh, that will be great for the divorce. She's got the evidence right there. She'll be like, well, Your Honor, this is why I left. It'd be perfect.
Abandoned me in my time of need.
Exactly. Say no more. So
yeah, but even like, okay, so after that, like we've just completely, crapped our pants. Well, you guys crapped your pants. All I heard was, oh my God, it's a bat. And I just remember I'm still half asleep. I grabbed my sweater and I just put it over my head because my hair was down and I just like, no bat in my hair, right? And I just lied on the couch for another 15 minutes while Allison screamed.
Oh my God. I don't know how she had a voice left. Like, please go on the web or on the social media and watch it. It's the funniest thing. There we are, terrified of ghosts, and it was a bat that got us all.
Take her out.
So, it was amazing.
But yeah.
Prior to that, we had gone outside just to get some fresh air and kind of, sometimes the energy was a lot. It felt intense. So we needed to kind of just go out and shake it off. And a car pulled up. And it's like midnight. And we are on a dead-end street. So no one should be coming down that road at all. And it stopped at the end of the driveway. And so I think Ryan and Allison wandered over, and they came back, and the car kind of did a U-ey and went up a little and then stopped. And Ryan was like, yeah, they were inquiring about the house. And, as we said before, a lot of people know about this house. So they drive to go see it and see. And then they reversed, and then they wanted to come inside. And it was a very weird encounter. I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah.
But then they left. And then we were all on edge. Because now we're like, are they going to come back? Like,
we're in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody around. Unless you want to deal with the drunk lady up the hill with a gun.
Yeah, and the bears.
Yeah, and the bears.
But it was a bit of a weird vibe. We all went back in the house and we tried to lock ourselves in. And that's when we went upstairs and did the Estes. But I think we were all a bit on it. I kept looking out the window. I'm waiting for this car to come back down and for them to be like, let us in. It just changed the tone of the evening.
Yeah,
so that was actually like a really nice comedic break, because it kind of like gone downhill after that encounter with them.
Yeah.
And then the Estes method was very interesting, because while you were doing that, we heard sounds like someone was walking above us, but the only thing above us is literally the roof. And then you, who are earphones on, you can't hear anything, can't see anything, start saying things like up above on the roof, like whatever spirit was talking to you is literally telling us. And we're like, oh my God. And we were getting the lights flickering. I think the bell went off a few times, and it was clear that you were communicating with the two brothers, because I can't remember exactly the conversation, but we were discussing, them and the fact that it wasn't true. And they were grateful that, you were shedding light on the fact that they didn't do these things. So it was a really good Estes session. And we all, same thing. We like Liz and Allison were in the kitchen because they didn't even want to come upstairs. Allison hadn't been upstairs. She's like, I have zero interest in going up there. I don't want to. So it was you, myself, Ryan, and Jay.
Yeah.
And we were all kind of just like huddled on the bed, really. And you were.
Meanwhile, I'm over here by myself in a chair by the stairs.
And by the closet that supposedly hung or tried to hang the kid. So it was, again, we're all kind of, no one's really separating. The energy of that house was something else. And we left, well, Ryan, I think it was just like the dust outline of him. He was out at that door. So
as soon as the sun came up,
he was like, I'm surprised he didn't leave without Liz and just be like, I love you, but I gotta go. Like, but it was really a strange, and we left and we were kind of like, fuck, there was so much more we had planned to do, but we just couldn't.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like, and I still remember waking up and being like, oh gosh, it's almost 8:00. And like Ryan's like milling around and he's getting himself ready. And like, I'm like, okay, I guess we're packing up. Like, because you have this place about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, right? So you don't have to like, they're expecting you to be up all night. So they're giving you a little bit of time to sleep in the morning, right? Different vibe in the morning. It was kind of like waking up on a farm. Like you're just waking up, you hear that music in the background, the sun's coming up over the pond, like it
was beautiful. It really was. And then I went upstairs. I'm like, hey Ryan, come upstairs, we'll go do an Estes session. And he's like, yeah, I'll be right there. And no, he was never right there, because he was like, I gotta get the fuck out of this house.
Stuff and leaving.
I don't know what changed, but he was done, ready to get the hell out of that house. And I went up and did an Estes. Honestly, the vibe in the house once the sun came up
different.
And like
different.
I sat up there. I sat in the closet that was, notorious for whatever. Nothing really. Nothing.
Yeah.
There were a few voices that came through, and they did actually correlate to what I was asking, but it was so intermittent and not really anything. So then I came back downstairs and Ryan's like, well, see you later, gotta go. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess you're leaving.
Yeah, it was quick. We were out of there by like 8:30. It was,
Yeah.
we were gone. Yeah, I think he just felt anxious. He was just, something just made him want to leave. I believe that was. And then afterwards he really kind of reevaluated everything. And then he said, like, I probably should stay, but I just had that feeling that I needed to go. But I don't know, maybe round 2 here will be a little different.
Absolutely.
I really want to go back, but I don't know what to expect now. Like,
and it's hard. Like, we've had a few places that we love, and we want to go back, and then we go back, and it's different. And you don't want to go back with an expectation, but it's hard not to, because of
what happened the first time. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
but I think now that we know that house, we could I think we'd be a little more comfortable maybe doing solo sessions, or splitting up and doing more investigation than just sitting around being like, what's going on?
should have brought out the like Monopoly or something and played it on the table and really stirred up the atmosphere.
No kidding. Yeah. So interestingly enough, not too long ago, I had a visitation from 3 gentlemen who claimed to be the guardians of the land there. And first they were telling me that they were very annoyed with the giving tree. The fact that people have like desecrated this tree, more or less, like killed it. They're like, the fuck. And I'm like, I'm sorry, because we kind of partook in that.
But we didn't hang anything from the tree.
No, we didn't. So I mentioned what we had, and they said you should have just like emptied it out and whatever. But anyway, I'm like, I'm sorry. And then they said that there were 2 women having a conversation about Christianity, and they had a crucifix and rosary beads, and he said it was because of the Christians that all of this came about, and that's why the land or the house is angry. And they, like, I saw, when he said the 2 ladies, I saw Allison and Liz. I don't know if either of them are religious or had either of those things, or had a conversation about Christianity. I don't know, but that's what they said. And they just said, in general, it was the Christians that disturbed something, and that's why there's this like anger. So then when you're telling me this story about 2 brothers who are fighting over religion and one kills the other one, I'm like, fuck.
Maybe.
So that's very interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Because I think, in all honesty, out of everybody that went, I'm probably the only one with the most religious background.
Yeah.
Right? Because, Catholic school, Catholic high school, every Catholic ceremony you could possibly think of, I have not practiced it now. But I was probably like the most religious, if you want to call it.
Right. I don't know. I guess I haven't spoken to Liz since then, I don't think. But maybe we'll see if they did. I don't know if they even remember what they were talking about. That was when, I'm pretty sure that was when we were upstairs and they were downstairs chatting, but I don't know what they were talking about. But it's just very interesting that, because I mean, when they did an exorcist, like to exorcise a house, a building, it's very unusual. And I don't know if the person who did it actually was qualified to do it and knew what they were doing, and maybe that did stir up some shit, and who knows?
That's a good question, because it was a priest who did it.
But not all priests are trained in exorcism. It's not like you become a priest and they're like, okay, now you can exorcise everything. Like, as far as I know, you have to have proper training. I don't know.
I'm just trying to wonder. I am wondering. if I ever go back and read her book, she talks about how this exorcism started, right? I'm wondering who she talked about with it first.
I don't know.
Maybe it did start with Clara. And that's why
I don't know.
Angry. I don't
know. I mean,
there
are, I'm pretty sure there's crucifixes on the wall.
There is. I think there's one on every wall.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. These are not my words. I'm just passing on messages, so don't get mad at me, Christians, in the comments. Okay.
And I'm just trying to put things together.
Exactly. And I mean, if this is native land, and then you have religion that kind of came in and did some damage to some things over the years, it kind of stands to reason that they're like,
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what it is. When you were reciting the story there of the two brothers, and I was like, oh my God. I love it when things like that all fall.
And we did. So, and there's also another thing, like, I was able to find pictures of the Dandy children of what they would look like when they lived there, because, high school yearbooks are great. And someone previously to us being there, I guess, had seen a girl on the stairs and drew a picture of her. And I thought, that looks really familiar. So I pulled up a picture of Laura Dandy, and we put it side by side. And her hair, the hairline matched.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
And all of that. And I think it blew Ryan's mind.
Oh, he at that point was just like, oh my God. Yeah. He's like, get a picture of that.
Why would she come back? Right? She's the one that died of the accidental overdose. So why would she come back to Hinsdale?
And as a child, I don't know.
More mystery to add to the puzzle to solve on round 2. Coming soon.
I know.
Well, yeah, so there's lots more. We did do a video for the Paranormal Seekers, so if you want to go more in depth, you could go find that. We can put a link as well. And yeah, but that is the Hinsdale House. Now, I just want to say something really quick. Daniel is a great person. He's done an amazing job for Hinsdale and for the paranormal community. And unfortunately, his daughter is going through a really hard time right now. She is and has been diagnosed with a pretty awful brain cancer, I believe. And all the support for her would be great. So we will post that link as well if you want to support her journey through this. And Daniel and his wife and their family, we'll post that as well, because everyone deserves that chance and have that community around them. So we'll post that as well. So if you could donate, awesome. If you can visit the Hinsdale House, even better. Comment, whatever. So we'll post that too. But other than that, that is our episode on A Canadian's Guide to the Hinsdale House.
Part 1.
Part 2. But yeah, so if you have any questions, comments, stories, topics, whatever, you can email us at paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. That's PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. You can check out our Facebook, our Instagram, our lovely TikTok. Just search Paranormal. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks for listening and watching.
Yeah, and it's just bats, man. It's always freaking bats. Bye, everyone.
Bye.